I'm in Danu Phu town in Ayeyarwady province in Myanmar, and I'm on one of those amazing trips that I sometimes get to go on, where it's like an intensive rolling conversation with people trying to improve governance in Myanmar, trying to improve institutions, rules, laws. We've been talking to fisheries communities. I've just been in a very hot room, which is why I'm looking quite sweaty, talking to fishermen, fisherwomen, the MP, departments of fisheries people, because they've had a really interesting process of a new fisheries law, which has really made a difference to these people. They've suddenly got access to ponds and fish when before they were just paid labour. So the reason we're here is we're looking at a really interesting project called PIN, which is funded by DFID, which is trying to encourage this kind of process of passing new laws, getting institutions to work as Myanmar goes through this high-speed political transition. And some of the things we're looking at is what's special about doing this kind of adaptive management work. So PIN does this kind of work where it's constantly trying to find new ways in, new conversations, come up with bits of money or bits of support to help institutional reform take place. And it's quite interesting because we're asking what's different about doing that kind of thing in fragile and conflict states. And I think there's a couple of things really. One is if you're doing this kind of work in a conflictive area, you've got to be really good at your power analysis and understand how all the different players interact. Because if you get it wrong, you might actually stoke up conflict, for example, by inviting one group to take part and not another group. There are many more players and power is dispersed, so your power analysis has got to be much more sophisticated. Things are turbulent, changing all the time, so you've got to keep a much closer eye on the system. States, fledgling states which are emerging through a chaotic process like Myanmar, they need help. We had a meeting with the fisheries minister earlier who couldn't have been more grateful for the kind of support he was getting from PIN. So PIN and its partners, NGOs, have got in amongst these processes and are really helping kind of get them moving. Some of the things I've learned which are a bit of a surprise. So, when we talk about adaptive management, we talk about 3-month experiments and then a stand back and see where we've got to. That's not how it works. It's a process of constant engagement and feedback. And, the person I'm with, Angela Christie, who is an amazing monitoring, evaluation and sort of program person, was talking about, what do you do when you see the frown on the face of the minister? How do you change direction? How do you maybe make a slightly different suggestion? So very short feedback loops and reactions, which are about navigating these difficult problems. How on earth do you capture that when you're reporting? And we were talking today about critical moments. How do you capture, when you look back, what were the critical moments which made a difference, either good or bad? What was the frown? When did the frown happen? How did we react? And a lot of this is about process. It's about getting people into the room together. It's about getting conversations going, keeping people in the room happy. It's not very sexy, it's not very tangible, it's quite hard to report on. So these are very initial thoughts. We're going to write a big proper report at the end of the week if we're still standing, but these were just some initial thoughts.